Jane is standing by this morning with two people who literally put their own lives on the line to help save an endangered species. Jane?
For the past 4 summers in the Pacific Ocean, a David and Goliath battle has been going on to save the sperm whale, which is on the endangered species list. The antagonists are the Russian whaling ships and a group of idealistic American environmental activists from the Greenpeace Foundation, I guess you could say, are the protagonists. Philip Caston is the leader of the expeditions, and Purl, a reporter who went along last summer on their expedition in the North Pacific, are here to tell us about their extraordinary nonviolent confrontations with the Russian whaling fleet. First of all, Philip, what's it like in one of those little boats?
Well, it's pretty amazing being out in the middle of the ocean, 3,000 miles from the coast of California, 1,000 miles north of Hawaii. This year we experienced very high seas and a hostile Russian whaling fleet. You get bounced around a lot, you get wet, and it's a real amazing experience.
A year ago, on one of your expeditions, you did, in fact, with a little, I guess it's a 44-foot-long minesweeper. And
144 feet.
140 foot. Well, that's still pretty little.
Yeah.
Stopped the fleet, and some of you boarded the
That's
Russian
right.
ship?
Last year, some of our people boarded a Russian factory ship and had the opportunity to talk to some of the Russians and the captain and so on.
Well, I guess it wasn't that pleasant this year.
Well, the reception was quite different. I wrote about last year's expedition, though I was not a member of it. And although the Russians were not whaling at the moment they encountered them last year, they were moving rather slowly, and they permitted this boarding. This year, they made sure that they were going too fast for us to board.
We have some film that was shot during this last expedition. How recently was this film
Well,
shot?
it just ended at the end of August.
Okay, well, let's take a look at it if we could, and maybe you will tell us what we're seeing as we see it.
That's our ship, the MV Peacock, which is out of San Pedro.
144 feet long.
Right.
Painted, every year we paint the ships with rainbows and whales, symbolizing what we're out there for.
And the Russians know when they see one of your little white boats
They
coming.
see the rainbows.
The Greenpeace is here.
Right. Now, this is in a Zodiac. That's the name of those outboard ships that we move around in.
That's the Russian factory ship, which is over 600 feet long.
And that is where, that's sort of headquarters. It's a floating headquarters in
Yes,
effect.
they can process a whale in, I think it's an hour, an entire whale.
And how many whaling ships are in fact feeding that factory?
About 10.
Yeah.
Now, what are you're heading off now?
We're heading off from the factory ship to confront some killer ships.
What is the object? You position yourself between the harpoons and the whale.
Right. We did a lot of documentation this year on the actual process. This is a killer ship. You can see the harpoon in the front of it. He's in chase after some whales.
Now, how dangerous is this, what you're doing? What your maneuverability? I should think that that you could get in the way.
Well, the killer ship itself, they're spraying water on us there to keep us away from the ship, but they're quite maneuverable and fast. Our Zodiacs will do about 30 knots in calm water. The killer ship can do a straight-out 22 knots and really maneuver.
Beyond the fire hoses that they're using on you now, was there any danger? Was there any real hostility?
Not any more than that.
Well, they tried to play with you. They headed very quickly for even for our mothership, for the Peacock, several times. And had we not maneuvered them, we presumably could have been rammed by them. It's a question of moving as fast as possible, outmaneuvering each other when you're out there.
Now, how many whales did you actually save using these tactics? You're one boat with a few Zodiacs, and there are many, many killer ships, as you call them.
Right.
There are 2 factory ships, so you really aren't stopping Russian whaling there, are you?
We stayed on with one killer ship and stopped them from killing a pod of approximately 8 whales. It's impossible to count how many we saved in total by confronting the fleet.
There was one you obviously didn't save.
Right.
The water was filled
Unfortunately, we
with
saw more
blood.
dead whales than alive.
How many?
We saw them take 20 a day when we were there. And there are 2 Russian fleets, which means they're taking 40 a day during the entire whaling season.
Well, what damage is that doing to the world's population of sperm whales?
We feel the kill itself and the quotas that are set by the International Whaling Commission are dramatically reducing the number of whales in the oceans. and they won't have a chance to regroup and to grow again in size. That the Russian whaling fleets are just continuing to kill, and the Japanese whaling fleets are continuing to kill until they deplete the stocks, and they'll go on to something else.
Philip, this is a non-violent exercise to save the whales. We saw the fire hoses, and Mara says they maybe were playing. Sooner or later, they're going to stop playing with you, aren't they?
Well, yeah, it's quite possible. We're in international waters, and therefore you're going by international laws of sea.
You are not authorized by the United States government to...
That's right. They can't authorize us at all. So there could be an incident at some time.
But
we're very careful not to disrupt their fishing and their rights by international law.
Well, thank you for being with us. I assume that there will be more Greenpeace expeditions in the North Pacific and that Mara Purl and Philip Caston will be involved in one way or another. We'll be back after a message.